Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. The RTGAC is back in today. We're coming to you live here for our first summer episode of the 2025 calendar year. We obviously had our summer episodes last year, but this year we're coming to you in a more sophisticated way, I guess you should say. We're obviously on the computer. Cole's not on the iPad screen. We tried this out a little bit in April to give you guys a bit of a preview of that, but now we are back here on the CR7 Podcast, coming to you live from home on the StreamYard. So yeah, we'll be doing this for however long we are. We're going to be having committed to the grind episodes. We have a few coming out over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months, I guess I should say. And yeah, obviously we didn't have an episode last week because we had the Memorial Day holiday, and then obviously we had other exams and all that good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much all it is to go over. But before we get into the rundown, Cole, say what's up to the people.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, great to be back, like Ryan said. A little bit more sophisticated, but yeah, just happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to be here indeed. And yeah, now we are going to just get right into it, honestly. We'll be doing our Phillies weekly recap. The Phillies have been one of the most dominant teams, except for that 3-game sweep they just suffered to the Milwaukee Brewers. And then we'll be getting into the Eagles. They gave up on Bryce Huff, trading him to the San Francisco 49ers. We'll be getting into that. Cole will be breaking down the college baseball playoffs, and we get some more predictions in there. Then we just had the Eastern and Western Conference Finals in the NBA playoffs. We'll be getting into the NBA Finals on Thursday. Did Tyrese Halliburton deserve Eastern Conference Finals MVP? We'll be going over that. And then Cole will give his finals predictions. I'll also get mine in there as well. Video coming about that on today, actually, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll get into Ryan's rants, and we'll wrap things up for today. So, Cole, the Phillies, they've been one of the hottest teams in the MLB, but they just suffered a 3-game sweep to the Milwaukee Brewers. Talk about this team.
Yeah, I'll just start off where we left off. You drop one of the Cardinals, and that's a tough one. But here's where we started. We started with the Pirates, Phillies. Phillies get the sweep, man. I really like what they did there, especially that final game. You only get one run. Great pitching from Mick Abel, and I'm glad that they called him up because I can't stand Walker. But yeah. So, yeah, great sweep of the Pirates. Then you go into Colorado, and obviously now, I wasn't expecting the sweep because, again, they are an MLB team, but the Rockies are horrible, dude.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad.
So, yeah, sweep there, and it wasn't really even close. The Rockies hitting is just god-awful. I don't even really want to talk about that. I'll just spare the Rockies. Then you go in to the A's series. You get the first two. I was expecting a sweep. They didn't get it, unfortunately. Strom kind of botched it right there, and then Mason Miller shut it down in the ninth. But he was kind of shaky throughout the series, Mason Miller. But he did get the job done there. The hitting has been pretty solid. I'm not going to lie. Obviously up until the Brewers series. Did score 7 but they scored 17. But again, the 7 runs, 3 of them came in the ninth, so it's really like you scored 2, and then, they just threw whoever out there and you hit a home run. But yeah, the Braves, you sweep the Braves, or my bad. They lost the last one, but never mind. Rain makeup, my bad.
Oh, no, but they did lose the last one, though. The second.
They did win the series, yeah.
Yeah.
Strider, we got to him eventually. It was only a matter of time, really. His pitch count was high. He walked 4 guys, so I wasn't really looking forward to that because I thought he might hit a couple guys, and he did. He hit Harper. Again, he's come back from IL, so I'm not too mad about it, but, it kind of does suck. And then the second game, the doubleheader game, A.J. Smith-Shar, he comes in. I think he got hurt. I think he's getting Tommy John now. But, yeah.
Great.
Sanchez did a pretty good job there. Again, too high pitch count. He's getting deep in counts, get late hits. He had 7 hits, 2 walks. So if he can just limit that a little bit, keep using that changeup, I think it'll play in his advantage. Again, Strom giving up runs out of the pen. I don't love it, but, our pen is kind of horrible right now. We have like a 5 ERA as a team. So, yeah. And then the final one, Chris Sale gets the win. Wheeler gets the loss. Wheeler got kind of pieced up a little bit here, which you don't see very often, but, it is what it is. It's going to happen sometimes. Speaking of pieced up, Luzardo got absolutely crushed. I mean, 3 innings. He gave up 12. And then Jose Ruiz gave up 5 out of the pen. It was just a horrible game. He threw Weston Wilson out there for the 8th and the 9th. That's how bad it got. But, yeah, I mean, we just couldn't get runs. And then we finally got some in the 9th, but it was completely over at that point. And then, this final one, Kirkring gets the loss, which is unfortunate. Again, the bullpen, not coming in, shutting it down. I thought Ranger did a really good job. He had no walks, which is a big plus for him because he had a bunch in this last start. But overall, the hitting's got to come up a little bit. We haven't been good this series against the Brewers hitting-wise. And it's not like they've thrown anyone, crazy. Their best pitchers, Abner Uribe. So, I don't know what to say. We just got to tune up the hitting and then, limit the 17 runs. And then I think we should be good. Blue Jays, I think will be good for them. Pirates, again, we might drop the one to Skeens. And Cubs, I'm scared about that series. We might get swept by the Cubs because they're really good and they played everyone really good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Abel, they called up Abel, which I'm happy about. Move Walker to the bullpen. He was solid in his 2 reliever appearances. Both went 3 innings, but we'll see what happens. And then I don't know who they DFA'd, but it is what it is. I mean, the bullpen's horrible regardless.
Right. I don't know if Sorchi's right about the Cubs fall off. I mean, that Pete Crow Armstrong is something else. But nonetheless, getting into this Phillies team, I mean, Cole, I said it in our last episode, you're going into a bunch of games that are not are going to be too competitive. I mean, you face, when did we leave off? I think we left off on the Cardinals or something. I don't know. Regardless of where we left off, you face the Pittsburgh Pirates, or maybe we left off on the Pirates. I don't know. Regardless, you beat the Pirates. I mean, Mick Abel looked great. 9 strikeouts in his start. Obviously, it's great that they're calling him up. I thought it was a bit, of a weird move to bring him down. I get that you really didn't want to, hurt him or anything. You had guys, but Tyjon Walker's not really the answer. And then obviously the Colorado Rockies, they could be one of the worst teams of all time. They're on track to lose 120 games. And then you got the Chicago White Sox from last year. And two back-to-back 2 years got the worst possible teams in MLB history. Doesn't make much sense to me. Then you got the Athletics, who, for their standards, are having a good year. They're only about 7 to 10 games under 500. So, you should win that series, but I didn't necessarily expect a sweep, which obviously didn't happen. But once again, the hitting has been great. And then for the Atlanta Braves, I mean, listen, I was very upset about that second game. It was very, very just not good pitching overall. The hitting over the past couple of weeks has been either up or down. There's not. It's only been about 2 to 3 runs every game. There's only been a couple of games where they've put up more. So I think I know Harper did get injured, and obviously the lineup's been a bit shaken up and stuff like that. But that's not really much of an excuse based off the fact that we're paying guys $50 million, $30 million to hit the damn baseball, and they're not doing so. So I think that's a bit of a problem there. And then obviously the sweep against the Brewers. I mean, Friday was just miserable. I was there with Sorgi, and it was a miserable game overall for the Phillies. Obviously, Tyjon Walker was pitching, and he looked like a lost puppy out there. He had no clue what he was doing. Gave up a few runs in the first inning, and then the hitting just overall throughout the game was just abysmal. Schwarber got things going, had 2 doubles in that game. But Schwarber's been probably the best player on the team this season. and there's no doubt about that. We'll get into him in just a moment here. But yeah, that was just a miserable game. Saturday was miserable as well. I mean, once again, just nothing got going. The pitching was abysmal. The hitting was, I mean, the hitting only was getting going in the and like the later stages of the game in the eighth and ninth inning, but that's when the game was already decided and the Brewers threw out their double A guys. So, there's not really much to analyze there. And then obviously you had yesterday, the first game of June, not the great way to start off. You only put up 2 runs, you let up 5. I mean, everybody's getting pieced up there. The Brewers are just kind of an average team in the MLB. And you got swept by them. Doesn't really necessarily make sense to me. But I mean, what are you going to do? But you got the pretty much the 500 Blue Jays, the Pirates, and then obviously the Cubs, who have been absolutely incredible. I think, have they taken first place in the? I think that, yeah, they've taken first place in the National League. So obviously that 3-game sweep to the Brewers definitely did not help. And then, you got the Marlins and all that, but we'll be back before that. The Mets are obviously always going to be a big series because they are, and I believe they took first place in the NL East, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they took first place. We're a game back. So, that sweep really hurt the Phillies. It's just a real damn shame. But overall, I mean, the pitching has been okay. I think, I don't know if Nola being out has really hurt us in that much way, shape, or form because he hasn't really been a positive this season. But I mean, the hitting has been good. I don't think it's been absolutely incredible, but Kyle Schwarber's been raking. I don't think people realize how good he's actually been. A 266 average. Now, some will say, okay, that's just average for an average. But nonetheless, I mean, his on base percentage is a .398, slugging a .584, and then his OPS .89 .983, his WAR 2.3. I know Aaron Judge has like a 4 or 5, whatever it is. But for Kyle Schwarber, I think that's really, really good. Obviously, Castellanos has been whatever. I mean, he had a home run against Milwaukee on Friday. But overall, over the course of the season, not really hitting many home runs. Alec Boehm has started to rise. He's started to come back to his average form. Trey Turner's been good, a 299 average, but has not been too good defensively, which is why I think Sosa gets some reps. And then Stott has not been that great, honestly. He's been okay at best. I don't know. He just is whatever. JT is a bit below average as well. Kepler's whatever. I don't expect much from him hitting-wise. Rojas plays occasionally. Marsh is whatever, has not been that great. Hitting-wise, has just been okay. Schwarber's really been the only guy to really do anything of note, honestly. Harper's...
I will say Boehm has been doing better.
He's been better. He's kind of gotten back up to his average, in my opinion. Harper out has obviously hurt us, but he's been pretty much average for himself as well. But the pitching has been part of the reason we've been winning games here, and with Nola going down, Tyjon Walker looking like the epitome of a disgrace has definitely not helped us. Wheeler losing a start as well. But I think McAble getting called up is a fresh breath of air for everybody because of the fact that how well he played in his game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And just get the bats going, get Harper back as soon as possible. We're not. It's obviously the beginning of June in the summer months. We're looking at. We're just not fighting for a wild card spot. Obviously, we'll make the playoffs. I don't think it necessarily matters what seed we get because the Phillies are built to be a playoff team. So it doesn't really matter to the fan base or the organization where they place because of the fact that, they're built for the playoffs. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to win there. So, we'll see what seed they end up getting. But for now, it's just been okay. It's been below average pitching with okay hitting, and we've beaten a bunch of bad teams. So, I don't really think there's much to brag about. I'm happy they did win those games, but you got an average team in Milwaukee. You got swept by them. I don't really like the way things are going, but if we can get things going, I'll start to like it a bit more. Cole, let me ask you here. Now, some moves that I don't think make much sense. The Phillies are rumored. Now, I don't think they actually have any merit to them, but there is a rumor going around that the Phillies could trade for either Rhys Hoskins or Cedric Mullins. What do you think about these?
I don't love Reese Hoskins. Obviously, my heart wants him, but he's just not going to fit on this lineup. You could move Harper to the outfield, but I just don't see it happening. It's also too big of a move. Mullins, I could see happening. We do need someone to fill an outfield spot, whether it's center or left. I do like what Kepler's been doing, so probably his move would be center. I don't mind it. They took him out of the lineup like a couple days ago. I like the trend of where he's going. Well, obviously, you hate to see it for him as an Oriole, but that could open up a spot for us to come in and take him. But I don't know. I like the Cedric Mullins deal a lot better. Another guy I was looking at is Felix Bautista to come in and fill in as a closer role. Now he's probably 12, 13 months past his Tommy John surgery, so I don't think it's going to, be that much of a deal anymore. I think he's starting to ramp up a little bit, getting some innings under his belt. So I would like him the most, but yeah, I could definitely settle for a Cedric Mullins, but I wouldn't like to give up any of like the top prospects, Painter or Miller.
No,
But I'd give up anyone else really.
No, yeah, definitely not. I'm not giving up any of the top prospects. I don't think, honestly, these trades are probably not even a desperate need because of the fact that, well, Hoskins just doesn't fit, in my opinion. Once again, Harper has been good at first base. I mean, he hasn't been the greatest defensive first baseman to ever play the game of baseball, but it's not like he's, made so many errors to the point where he needs to get off of there. Only way I could see is trading for Hoskins is if you move Harper to center field or something, but then you got to teach him a whole new position. I know he played right field for the majority part of his career, but it just doesn't make much sense in my opinion, because then you're leaving out Rojas and Marsh, two really good defensive center fielders. I just don't really see the point in it.
And you can't put Schwarber in the outfield.
He was still DH. I'm saying like move Harper to center field.
No, I know. But like for people that say Hoskins DH, Schwarber the
outfield. Yeah, no, you can't move Schwarber to the outfield. He is slow as hell. I think I could run faster. And that's
I think he's like the worst defensive outfielder like a year
ago. Probably. But it is what it is. And then Mullins, I don't really think make much. I mean, it makes more sense, but it also doesn't make much sense. I don't know, because like once again, you have two good defensive center fielders in Rojas and Marsh. They can't necessarily hit well, but then again, they're at the bottom of the lineup. Now I know the bottom of the lineup was part of the problem during the last few playoff runs, but we traded for when we've seen this trend before. We traded for guys that would hit at the bottom of the lineup, and then in the playoffs they just go away. We traded for somebody last year, for whoever it was, I can't remember at this time. We traded for them, and they were supposed to hit at the bottom of the lineup, and they played terrible. I forget who it was. Damn, who did we trade for last year? We traded for somebody last year. We were supposed to get Robert. I forget. We traded for somebody last year to play left field or something.
Hayes.
Who?
Austin Hayes?
Yeah, Hayes. We traded for Hayes to hit at the bottom of the lineup. I don't know why I forgot. Hit at the bottom of the lineup. Then when the playoffs came around, he played like a bum. So, that argument is kind of running wild. It's like, it's not good because of the fact that it hasn't worked in the past couple of years. So I don't know. I really wouldn't do it. I agree with Sorgi. Like, let's not trade for Hoskins. It just doesn't make much sense. I mean, obviously everybody would want us to do it, but at the end of the day, why would we let him walk? If everybody wanted him back so bad, if the Phillies were interested in him, why did we let him walk in the first place? Why didn't we teach Harper center field? I don't get it. Anyway.
Well, I mean, because Harper was in the lineup, but he couldn't throw really.
Yeah, I know, but we could have figured it out. Trust me.
Yeah.
We could have put Schwarber in left field for the time being. There's ways to work it out. Anyway, let's move on. Now, let me ask: which one do we like better? We should have done this before, but we'll with the audience. Do we like this one better, or do we like this one better?
This one. I like this one better.
All right. Anyway, let's move on here to some more Philly sports. The Eagles. traded Bryce Huff away to the San Francisco 49ers for a mid-round draft pick. I assume that's a fourth or fifth round draft pick. I don't know right now. But yeah, 1 year with the Philadelphia Eagles, being inactive for most of it, lots of rumors, lots of injuries, and all that. It just did not work out. But now he is with the San Francisco 49ers. Bryce Huff obviously took a liking to the trade, saying that he did not want to be in Philadelphia anymore. He posted a picture of himself and the peace emoji on his Instagram story, which got a bit of a rise out of the Philadelphia Eagles fans. But nonetheless, I'll start here and I'll turn it over to Cole in a few minutes. But, this trade, I mean, I don't know what the hell the problem was. I think a lot more, maybe more teams game plan. I said this when we first signed him. I was very happy about the signing. I thought it was going to work out. But my only concern about it is that you have a guy that was on the New York Jets, wasn't looked at or game planned for every single week. So he kind of fell under the radar and was able to get those 10 sacks on the year and look like an absolute superstar. When there's a lot of guys, or when you get that money and when you get that attention, when you're regarded as one of the highest, highly recruited, most money offered to players in NFL free agency, then there's going to be a lot more offensive coordinators game planning for your game. And that's what I think could have possibly happened here, or he could have just forgotten how to play. But I think the first option is probably a bit more viable here. I think at the end of the day that Huff is just an average defensive end. If teams game plan for him a lot more, then, he's probably not going to play well. But if they, have him fly under the radar, then he can just be, one of those more underrated players. I think it's the same thing with Derek Barnett. The Eagles were using him a lot. Teams were game planning for him. He goes to Houston. Teams aren't game planning for him. And then all of a sudden he, looks like, prime Lawrence Taylor. So, they're really, that's just kind of the way it's going to go for him. I don't know how many reps he's going to get with San Francisco. I know that they've lost some guys on their defensive line. So maybe he can get some reps, some split reps with somebody. So, there's no really hard feelings here. I don't really care because I think the Eagles have their defensive ends worked out. We obviously have Nolan Smith. We have Jalix Hunt. I assume that Jahad Campbell will be taking some reps there, but he could also work as a zero tech as well, coming in as an extra man on the rush. So, it's not that deep for me. It's just a shame it didn't work out because this was supposed to be one of our bigger free agency signings last year, and obviously nothing happened. But we won the Super Bowl. If we didn't win the Super Bowl, I think that this would be more criticized because of the fact that he was one of the biggest free agency signings. So, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, it is what it is. You have the best roster in the NFL. We talked about it in the last episode. There really isn't much of a need to keep him on. From what I was reading online, it seems like the Eagles didn't really have much of a plan for him. They didn't really want to use him at all. So there really was no reason to keep him. But I think the Niners, I don't know how much. Let's see. The Eagles are going to take on the majority of his salary. And they'll get a mid-round draft pick. Listen, the Eagles cap hit is pretty good right now. It's not anything bad because of the fact that we've signed some of our best guys to big extensions. We'll get Jalen Carter to a big extension next year, so we don't have to worry about that this year with any of his cap hit. So, yeah, a mid-round draft pick, cool. For the 49ers, I think this is useful as well. Once again, as I mentioned, you lost some of your defensive line depth, so you might as well bring on Bryce Huff to, try something out here, throw something at the wall, see if it sticks. Because obviously last year your team was not a disaster. It was just riddled by injuries. So you'll see if he can work out. Obviously he's coming off an injury, but if you're the 49ers, if you can stay healthy, there's no doubt that you can definitely make a playoff and Super Bowl push. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I don't think it was much of a like what were you saying? Like
Well, it
why?
doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Well, like the move, like.
Oh, the move doesn't matter. Well,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
but
like for the Eagles, I mean, like it's
well,
whatever.
but you were saying like he didn't fit
Oh yeah,
in.
he just didn't like. He's just not fitting with the new regime that we have.
I agree. I think it's a scheme thing. I think with the Jets, they just told him rush the QB and on the way take down the running back. And I think he'll fit well because Saleh's the defensive coordinator for San Francisco now.
Oh yeah, you're
So
right.
getting him back in that same mentality, I guess. I just don't think Fangio had a plan for him. Like Ryan said, I know he can rush, but I just again I don't think he fit in the Eagles scheme defensively. So he didn't get many reps and he didn't really flourish in that system. But I think he can definitely tear it up in San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't know. I also don't know if it was like a game plan, like as I mentioned, like a game plan thing. Like if teams are going to be
Yeah,
game planning for him a lot more. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I don't think he just forgot how to rush the passer. It just doesn't
no,
make that just wouldn't make much sense coming off a 10 sack season. I don't know. Maybe it could be a thing where he got paid and he wasn't that motivated to work that much in the off season. There's not much we know because he didn't play for the majority part of the season. He was the only inactive player in the Super Bowl. So there obviously was something going on there between him and the Eagles. That something just must not have been clicking. It could have been between him and Fangio. Him doing the peace sign on his Instagram story. I don't think that's a good look. None of this is a good look for him, in my opinion, because he was out the whole year. He was, when he did play, he wasn't great. He wasn't good at all. There was so much criticism on him in the first 4 weeks. And then he was the only inactive player in the Super Bowl. Something had to have happened internally that the Eagles didn't want him to play, didn't need him to play, or he was too injured to play. We'll never know, probably, unless we hear it in some interview. But that could be years down the line. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how he works out. I mean, he did get traded to a team that we did trade him to a team that could possibly be competing with us for a championship. So if he works out, then it's going to be very interesting to see him possibly further down the road. I do once again. I think taking on his salary is not that big of a deal. Would you say so?
no, it's not.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, let's move on. Now, I'm not gonna sit up here in line and say I've watched all the college baseball playoffs, but I know Cole has. He's watched the majority of these games, and he'll be breaking it down for us, recapping and predicting the rest of the way to go. Now with the summer here, I might have to keep watching. I might have to start watching a bit more. So, Cole, just break it down for me.
All right, yeah. So I'll start off in the Nashville region. Vandy gets eliminated by Wright State. So they went up against them the first time, and Wright State had a guy go 6 innings, no hits. They pulled him with 73 pitches or whatever, and then they piled on runs, and they won by like 1 or 2. And then they faced them again in an elimination game after that. Vandy lost to Louisville, and then Wright State took it. They were up 5-1 in like the 8th. Vandy scored 4 or something. But yeah, they won 5-4. Louisville, they advanced to Super Regional. And they play the winner of Southern Miss and Miami. Bama got eliminated. Columbia got eliminated out of that region. And Southern Miss beat Miami yesterday. So they play today. And whoever wins that plays Louisville. Tallahassee region, Florida State cooked everyone, really. It wasn't really close ever. Bethune got eliminated. Northeastern got eliminated. And Mississippi State lost yesterday, and they're out. Then Corvallis. This is actually a really interesting division. Oregon State lost their first game to St. Mary's. And then, they kind of went on a run. They beat TCU. They eliminated St. Mary's. And then they beat USC yesterday. And now, they got a shot to beat them again. And whoever wins that plays Florida State. Chapel Hill region. UNC's playing Oklahoma to go to the Super Regional today. UNC lost yesterday to Oklahoma, so it'll be interesting to see who wins there. The Eugene region, Oregon got eliminated, which is big. They were the 1 seed. Utah State and Cal Poly got eliminated yesterday, and then Arizona advances. The Conway region, Coastal Carolina cooked everyone. Auburn region, Auburn advanced. They almost lost to Central Connecticut their first game, but, they stuck with it. They won, and, and then they kind of plowed through NC State and Stetson. So, good for them. And then going to next region, Austin region, Texas got eliminated. UTSA advances. They're undefeated so far, and they play UCLA out of the Los Angeles region. That's going to be a really interesting matchup because UTSA is hot right now. They haven't lost a game yet. They beat Kansas State Texas, and Houston Christian, I believe, on their way. And UCLA, they also beat everyone. Beat UC Irvine, a bunch of good opponents as well. Oxford region, this one's big. Ole Miss, Murray State. Ole Miss already lost to Murray State, I believe, earlier, but they beat them yesterday night, and now, they play them today. And winner plays Duke, and Duke crushed everyone as well, and they eliminated Georgia, which is big. Baton Rouge, LSU, going into yesterday night, they didn't let up a run. They played Rhode Island and Dallas Baptist. They come in and they beat, and Little Rock beats them like 6-4 or like 10-4 or something like that. So LSU, man, they might be out. And the winner plays West Virginia. Knoxville region, Tennessee, Wake Forest. Wake Forest beat them last night. So winner plays Arkansas. I'm really liking I've been having a lot of fun. I've been watching ESPN Squeeze Play, getting all the games up on the screen. A couple teams that really stood out to me. Coastal Carolina, their pitching has been very, very good. Louisville, they've been very good. UTSA and Duke. So those are my hot teams. LSU was hot, but man, they kind of got exposed by Little Rock yesterday. So I don't know. We'll see what happens down the stretch. But predictions, I'll probably have the 8 teams that I got in the finals are. I'll probably go with Louisville. I'm going to go with Oregon State to beat USC and Florida State. I'll go with UNC to beat Oklahoma and beat Arizona. I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina over Auburn. I'll go with Wake to beat Tennessee and Arkansas. LSU to beat Little Rock and West Virginia. Duke to beat the winner of Ole Miss and Murray State. And I'll take UTSA over UCLA. So it was really exciting for me because I'm a little bit of a baseball nerd. But, yeah, seeing these 4 1 seeds lost on the opening day to the 4 seeds. So it's been really interesting to watch. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to today and the elimination games.
What do you call it? Before I, talk a little bit about this, maybe I'll give some predictions myself here. I do want to give a little bit of breaking news here for the St. Joe's Prep football community. Our starting center, Jake Namum, former committed to the grind guest, has committed to Dartmouth for college football. So congratulations to Jake there. And yeah, we filmed that episode. I don't know why it's not out yet, but we'll have more episodes coming out. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, congratulations to Jake, and hope to see him on the show again eventually. But anyway, moving on. I'm very surprised Vanderbilt lost. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened to them. I knew that they were the one of the best teams in the country.
They were the overall 1 seed in this.
Right. I don't really understand this. It seems like a lot of these ranked teams are losing. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of like March Madness a little bit. You don't really know. Now that I'm actually looking at it, a lot of these ranked teams are still in it. But, I mean, you kind of get my point here. Clemson, the 11th seed. I don't know who the hell Little Rock is, but I know who they are, but you get my point there. I mean, Georgia got eliminated. I mean, I didn't know Georgia was a baseball school, but good for them, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would take Duke. I mean, UCLA seems like a good team as well. I'm just kind of going Auburn's the 4th seed.
Yeah,
I mean,
UCLA won the Big Ten in the regular season. Duke's
okay.
solid, but they've been heating up recently. They weren't crazy good coming in here, but Georgia kind of fell apart, and Duke just hit a bunch of home runs. In the Georgia Stadium, the ball just flies.
I mean, I know Tennessee and Wake Forest, they're good teams. That should be a pretty good game, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Arkansas is a 3 seed. I don't know. Duke, UCLA are probably like the top 2 because you just said they're heating up. They seem like a good team. I mean, UCLA, I assume, is a pretty decent team as well. I don't know why I don't know why I'm talking about them. Auburn's the 4th seed. I don't really ever see them as a baseball school. But yeah, I mean, I'll watch. When are these games today? I assume tomorrow.
The elimination games are today, and then the series start tomorrow. The Super Regional Series.
All right. Well, fair enough.
It's like best of 3.
All right. Fair enough.
World Series. So. Yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, I mean, I'll take a look at these games. Why the hell not? But yeah, I'm just glad to get some good competition going. And have something going during the summer because it's kind of hard in these months to figure out what to watch. Watching a lot of documentaries. I watched the Exciting Mike's podcast. There are 3 episodes. It was good. It was all right. Anyway, moving on. Before we get into our finals predictions for the NBA, we got to talk about the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, the West Finals really wasn't much to talk about there. The Thunder at a 5-game win over the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they pretty much dominated in that series. But in the Eastern Conference Finals, a lot more interesting. Every game pretty much came down to the wire, with the Indiana Pacers defeating the New York Knicks. Now, there was, I don't know if I want to say some controversy, but there was a bit of talk on whether it should have been Tyrese Halliburton or Pascal Siakam. Siakam had one more vote than Tyrese Halliburton to win Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Now, I'm not that much of a fan. I don't think many people are really take the Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy a bit seriously. From what I read online, it doesn't really seem like the former players like it that much. They think it's a bit of a joke, but something to talk about, obviously. I think the Finals MVP obviously means a lot more because that's the biggest series of them all. So yeah, but anyway, I don't think it was I don't think it was a robbery, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah. I do think Halliburton should have won. If you look at now most valuable player. That's why Shea, I think, should have won the MVP. He was the most valuable player to his team. But anyway,
Shea.
When it comes to the Thunder, when Shea was off the court, the Thunder become the 22nd best offense in the NBA. With him on the court, they're the first. He was the most valuable. Anyway, when it comes to Halliburton, I feel like we have to, obviously, when it comes to clutch and scoring points in the right time, that's Halliburton. Obviously had the game tying shot against the New York Knicks in Game 1. Closed out the series in Game 6. Put up a lot of points there. Had that Curry range shot at the end. Overall, touched the ball pretty much every single time. Set his teammates up. Scored an assist on most of his points. Now, I understand that Siakam got a lot of offensive rebounds and stuff like that. I do want to go to the plus minus here. Now, Siakam did have a better plus minus in 3 out of the 6 games than Halliburton, but I want to take the time to say that Halliburton did not have an opportunity to fight for his own offensive rebounds, and he took a lot more shots than Pascal Siakam. So I think that's the reason. It's not a reason to diminish the plus minus, because I think there was one game where it was like really, really far in Siakam's favor. But for the majority of the games, the plus minus was closer, and Siakam barely edged it out. And then the games where Halliburton was the more valuable player on the court, he was a lot more valuable than Siakam on the floor. So I think you have to take all that into consideration there. The fact that Halliburton was the scorer in this series, was able to set up his teammates on assists, not necessarily getting those assists, but setting up his teammates to assist the ball, if you get what I'm trying to say there. I think Halliburton should have won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Once again, it's not a robbery. I'm not saying it's like, oh my God, Siakam shouldn't have won it because, he wasn't anywhere near on the level of Halliburton. He was, but I just think Halliburton should have won.
I completely agree with you, Ryan. Now, I do think Siakam, you could obviously make a case because, he had 39 in game 2 or whatever, and then 30 in game 3. So he did help in those efforts. But again, man, like, can we go back to game 1? I mean, Halliburton won that for them. And honestly, I think that's the decider in the series. Because if New York wins that one, I don't really see the Pacers winning. Again, they were down 9 with like a minute to go. And then Halliburton almost won it for them in like regular time. And then after regulation, they end up winning in OT. And also last night, it's not like the Knicks weren't scoring. They couldn't defend Halliburton. And he was like dropping dimes to Obi Toppin, who's just yamming and slamming them down. So, I mean, I think that he's the most valuable player. He averaged 10 assists for the series. Points per game weren't very far off of each other. He also averaged 2.5 steals a game. Again, like kind of a big thing because, again, their transition offense won them that series, especially game 6. I mean, they pushed the floor better than I think I've seen in the past couple months or whatever. They really pushed the floor, made New York get back and defend, and that worked in their favor because New York doesn't play any subs really. And the Pacers bench is so deep. Nesmith got injured. He got in foul trouble early. They put in Jarris Walker. He got injured. They went to like some other guy. McConnell's been giving him minutes. Mathurin, he got a couple in game 5. He played really good defense on Brunson. So yeah, I mean, and Nembhard. I mean, Nembhard had 6 steals last night or whenever game 6 was. So, I mean, I really like what I saw from the Pacers all around. And I think that Halliburton was the reason that they pushed each other on offense. But I think the Pacers defense really won them the series, in part because of Halliburton, like 2.5 steals. He's vocal leader on the court. I think he should have won it. But, I'm not mad at Pascal Siakam.
No, not at all. Now you're talking highly about the Pacers. We'll just get right into our next topic here. Who do we have winning the NBA Finals? Do you think it's going to be the Pacers? You think they'll upset?
I'm really liking their defense right now, but, man, Thunder are such a complete team. And you said before, I am going to hold you accountable. You said that the Knicks would beat the Pacers, and they matched very, very well up against them.
Did I actually say that?
I think you did.
I could have swore I said the Pacers were going to win.
Really?
I could have swore.
Maybe I said the Knicks.
I think you did. I could have swore.
I don't know, but we were bad.
I'll look this up.
Yeah, pull up the receipts.
I will.
Honestly, it might have been me who said the Knicks. But the more I watch, the more I dislike the Knicks. Not because they're from Villanova, but because I don't know. They just eliminated us the year before. So still a little bit salty about that and about Brunson and how we went out. But anyways, nonetheless, Pacers Thunder. Oh, it's tough. You go first.
My video is releasing tonight. I'll talk a little bit about more on there. I have the Pacers in 5 games. I think Halliburton and Siakam can get you 1. But I mean, the Thunder are just really great defensively. They match up well against Indiana. You have a guy like Hartenstein and Holm.
You just said Pacers in 5.
Did I actually?
Yeah.
I have the Thunder in 5. Okay, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I have the Thunder in 5 games. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking here. I was just thinking about the Pacers. I have the Thunder in 5 games. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, I have the Thunder in 5 games. They match up well against Indiana. They match up well. They have Holmgren and they have Isaiah Hartenstein to match up against Miles Turner. They obviously have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to match with Tyrese Halliburton. Whenever Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets a touch, the Thunder always find a way to make him score. There's lots of double teams coming in. He drives, he kicks out, gets to a guy like a Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, somebody like that, shoots the 3. Shai, I know a lot of people like to say, he gets to the free throw line a lot. But, it generates points, so there's not really much you can do about it. Defensively, the Thunder, their defensive shifts, some of the best in the NBA, some of the best I've ever seen, especially for guys like Hartenstein and Holmgren on the perimeter. I think if you're Indiana, you got to keep up the pace the whole game. If you slow down, the Thunder will take advantage. You got to get back in transition offense, get those easy points. But the Thunder, they don't necessarily let that happen. You've seen them play in transition defense, also transition offense over the course of these playoffs. They've been able to generate easy points. They've been able to make stops defensively when they 100% need to. You're looking at a guy like Alex Caruso defensively, puts in a lot of effort, tries to, disrupt the passing lanes and all that. Also, if you're the Thunder, you got to get the big men outside of the. I'm sorry, if you're the Pacers, you got to get the big men out of the paint as well, so you can get those easy cuts to the basket. Halliburton, as you mentioned, 10 assists in the series against the New York Knicks. So if you're able to get Halliburton to pass the ball inside, a guy like a Neesmith, a Nembhard, a T.J. McConnell, or whatnot, maybe not necessarily to McConnell, but you get my point. If you can get the ball into the passing lanes there, you can create some easy baskets there. But you're the Thunder, you just got too much firepower offensively. The ball movement, the transition offense, the defense as well. It's just all been great over the course of these playoffs, and I think that you will take a 5-game series win. I do think that Siakam and Halliburton will get you one just because of how great they've been over the course of the playoffs, but they're not beating you. They're not winning 4 games against Oklahoma City.
I'm going to take the Thunder in 7. I just think that the Pacers, man, they got a lot of hunger, and their defense has been very, very good. Like, don't get me wrong. And I think the Knicks, although, like, they kind of have a similar, team to the Thunder. They have a bunch of great wings. They have a star point guard. They have a big man. Well, Thunder have 2 big men, but, you get my point. I think Chet and Josh Hart are kind of similar. They get a lot of rebounds, and they can score the rock. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think that the Pacers are too hot right now to get gentlemen sweep. To get gentlemen swept. I mean, I could see them losing in 5, but I don't really see it happening overall. But I mean, yeah, they have a very similar. Although the Thunder are much deeper and they have a much better defense, Pacers ball movement has been great the past couple games. If Halliburton, like you said, gets those passes off in the lanes to Obi Toppin and guys like that, Jarris Walker, Miles Turner, guards, Nembhard and stuff like that, I think that they have a good shot at beating them a couple times. I think that they could take one at Oklahoma City. Their away, offense has been very, very good. Their away team overall, they haven't lost many away games so far this playoff run. They beat the Cavs, who I think were the second best team in the league. I mean, I really don't see them losing in 5, but I do see them losing overall. They'll probably lose in 7. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. I could see them winning. I know, Ryan, you probably can't. You probably can't even see them going 7. Yeah, I just think that the Thunder will win in 7.
I think even 6 could be a stretch for me, honestly.
Crazy.
I mean, it could happen. I'm just like, Indiana's hot, but I mean, the Thunder are just hotter. Like all those games.
They did lose by 40 to the T-Wolves.
Yeah. I mean, all the games between Indiana and New York has become close. And the Thunder, I mean, they know how to close games. They closed out the series against the Nuggets. I mean, with the Thunder, it's either a blowout or, it's either they get blown out or they blow out the other team. And it seems like 9 times out of 10 they blow out the other team. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I have the Thunder in 7, or Thunder in 5. You have the Thunder in 7. Yeah, I think that's it for these segments. Let me turn down the microphone volume while we're here. Let's get into Ryan's Rants Goal. Give me the first topic.
Brunson with the media.
Jalen Brunson. The media is asking you pretty good questions here. One of the questions was, do you think Tom Thibodeau should be the coach for the New York Knicks going forward? And you answer like, next question, please. What the hell? That's a good question. Tom Thibodeau's been on fire for the past couple of years, and you're saying next question like it's not a good question. I understand that you think he should be the head coach, but I mean, gee, Mané, you ain't got to be a madman about it. It's an actual good question. I would ask the same question if I was up there. The guy doesn't play his bench. The guy has gotten eliminated in the past couple of years. This one, a few times in pretty bad fashion, especially in game 1 here. I mean, the guy's been eliminated a couple of times here. Let's talk about it. Should the guy actually be a head coach in the for the New York Knicks? If he would have got swept by the Indiana Pacers, he probably would be out of a job right about now. So let's not talk about it like Tom Thibodeau should not be the head coach of the New York Knicks, because maybe he should be, but maybe he shouldn't as well, because he hasn't been able to get over the hump with this $1 million roster. He traded so many draft picks for Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. You still can't get over the hump. I understand Indiana was that good, but don't act like Tom Thibodeau shouldn't be on the hot seat because of the fact that he went down to 5 games and won one game where the Indiana Pacers just weren't on it.
Yeah, and that game 1 choke.
Yeah.
R-Truth released.
Oh my God, is our WWE one of the stupidest companies in wrestling? First you let R-Truth go. That was the worst thing you've ever done. The guy just had a match against John Cena. The man makes everybody laugh on screen, and you cut him, you sent him to the wolves. I honestly hope he makes more money than any wrestler in any world. I know he's like 60, but still, why in God's name would you let him walk? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to let one of the most marketable wrestlers walk. I understand he's not that great. Well, he's good, pretty good in the ring still. The guy's like 50-something years old, 60-something years old. How could you let him walk when he's still doing well? He's still making you money. It makes absolutely no sense.
Last one. Tobias Harris poking fun at the Sixers.
Listen, I know Paul George was stupid for saying, the fans said that we could have had Tobias Harris, but why would you say that on the podcast, first of all? And then Tobias Harris poking fun at it, what the hell is he to do? Yeah, you were the 4th best player on the sixth best team in the Eastern Conference. Congratulations. I mean, you obviously brought some good veteran leadership to the Detroit Pistons. But other than that, you didn't do much. What'd you do? Average 13 points per game, something around there? Tobias Harris wasn't much of an all-star on the Detroit Pistons. Also played terrible in his last season, or in the last playoff series with his Philadelphia 76ers. Cole, I've said it so many times on the show, and I will say it again. He scored 0 points in an elimination game. I literally could have done that. When people say I could have done that myself in a professional sports game, they're exaggerating. I am not exaggerating. I could have scored 0 points in an elimination game. I could have done that. So don't go onto social media. I think it might have been a deleted tweet or whatever, but don't go on social media, trying to make fun of the Sixers when you literally, it's not like you left on a 50-point triple-double. You left on a 0-point elimination game, and you weren't even the top 3. You probably weren't even a top 3, maybe not even a top 3 player. I don't really know to watch Pistons that much, but we weren't really even a top 3 player from maybe what the stats say on a team that was the 6th best team in the East and not even a top 10 team in the NBA. Let's settle down here, all right? Gee, man. But anything else to say on this, Cole?
No. I'm done with my Harris. I want my Crumbl cookie.
Okay. All right. Nonetheless. But yeah, we'll have Committed to the Grind episodes coming out soon. We have Sean Molly. We have Caden Oller, Jalen Jones, Seth Slater. We'll have more interviews coming. We have a few to film over the next couple of weeks. But we'll be back next Monday for the CR7 podcast. Guys, we're excited to get this back up and rolling for you all. And yeah, that'll do it for the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, guys. We will see you later.